B. Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Got my coffee. I'm ready to go. I want to talk to you about Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility. What the hell does that have to do with currency trading? I don't know. Stay tuned. All right. A couple of videos ago or whatever, I said that these books that were lined up here were kind of like on my reading list. I got Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility here, and I just finished it the other day, and I thought some of the concepts there were interesting as far as currency trading would go, and so I thought I would comment a little bit on that. It's almost June of 2021, and it's a crappy day out. Well, I like the rainy weather and the cold and stuff. Not so much on Memorial Day weekend and the week after that, but gee, it's just, it's really something. A lot of businesses are going to be hurt by this. I'm not sure that that they'll be able to recover because it's such a critical period that we're in. So past weekend was Memorial Day weekend. In currency trading, we've got rules, we've got fundamental analysis, we've got technical analysis, we've got all this analysis. And underlying all that is our, as Curtis Faith in his book put it, our gut, trading with your gut. And there's another aspect that I've talked about, which is instinct. And gut and instinct are a little bit different. They correlate just a little bit differently. And they tend to imply the same concept, but shining the light a little bit differently on it. And I found it interesting that in Jane Austen, the title of the book, Sense and Sensibility, excuse me, have that same kind of interrelationship between them. Now, instinct and gut in trading is how you view yourself so that you can correctly view what's going on around you. In your market endeavors. And sense and sensibility is the same kind of thing in the way that you look at your life, right? You look at your life, instinct and gut feeling, sense and sensibility, they're parallel processes in different aspects of our life, and yet the two terms can be juxtaposed between their genres. Sense and Sensibility is about life in Jane Austen's age, where these women are you know, if you don't find a good husband, a good match, nothing is left to you. You can't own anything. You don't survive in that sort of thing, sort of environment. And in our trading disciplines, if we don't distinguish our characteristics of instinct and gut feeling, if we don't have that concept in our heads that most of trading is our instinct and our gut rather than technical analysis and all that other stuff. Trading in the zone is an example. I've mentioned that many times. Is a pronunciation of, or pronouncement of, the necessity of understanding our own characteristics, our personality, our makeup, of which hope, fear, and greed are the primary things that we look at when we're starting out in trading. and the instinct and the gut come into play, and are more important than that, because it's the instinct and gut feelings that we have that determine what we're going to do with the hope, fear, and greed. And Faith brings that out very well in his book. Obviously, that's what he's talking about. But I think it's interesting to see how other folks in other disciplines take on those same principles. How do you deal with unscrambling these things and differentiating them so that you can apply them rationally in your life? So Austin's book is, I don't know, 400 pages or something like that. The book I read was 700 pages because it's an annotated version. So that here, pretty thick. It's the David M. Shepard edition, and I read Pride and Prejudice as well. And I didn't read the whole thing because the style of writing, certainly in that time period, was that expository type of writing, that very detailed description of things that are going on and all these conversations and everything. And I have short-term attention span problems and stuff, so I don't speed read literature, but that particular kind of literature that is more descriptive, like a Melville or Charlotte Bronte or Dickens, that kind of thing. I get my brain is off wandering somewhere. But the principle of this Sense and Sensibility that Austin brings out is the beauty of her identification of those terms to describe and to tell the story of these two sisters as they mature in their lives and begin to deal with the real world around them. Because as you mature as a woman and you don't have a husband, and your prospects are fleeting at best because of the social situation that they were in, there's all this inner dialogue that goes on in Austin's book between Eleanor, this primary character, and how they're resolving their lives with what their families expect of them, as opposed to what they want their lives to look like. Because it was right around Austin's time that these arranged marriages and oh well, Earl over here, he's got 10,000 or 20,000 a year estate, and so that's really where you want to be. Those types of forced marriages were coming into focus and becoming questioned. Well, I don't love this person, so why should I marry them? Our intuitiveness sometimes gets mixed up with our gut. Our gut is more reliable, but we have to use our intuition in order to unscramble what the gut is trying to tell us. And in currency trading, intuition and gut are not interpreted the same way that Sense and Sensibility are interpreted, or could be interpreted even in today's times, as the methodology that you would go about to resolve those issues of what's sensible and yet what's the sensibility of it. And so what's intuitive, what you might look at if you've come from other disciplines, like I have, coming out of a 40-year real estate background, I've had a horrible time making certain transitions in currency trading. And I'm not stupid. I've had some comments, oh, you're really stupid, you lost all this money, here you are making these fucking videos and trying to tell us what to do and you can't do it. Well, yeah, no, I can do it, but I understand what my problem is, but I don't think the critics really understand what their problem is. And they're certainly not criticizing me because they're successful. People only get criticized from someone who is not successful, and their criticisms are based on their own fears. I think it's very difficult when you have built bad habits in anything to break them and replace them with a new discipline. This whole thing, for example, that we're all going through, I'm not going to go through it because I'm not going to drive. I'm not going to drive a driverless car. I'm not going to let some robot drive the car. It's just that would be very hard for me to let go of that. And so when we learn our currency trading, if we don't have the Mark Douglas background of trading in the zone, or understand that our instincts and our gut feelings as they relate to other things in our experience in the world, my experience in real estate, for example, are not directly applicable into the currency markets, because those markets are different. They're different than the stock markets and the commodity markets. It's a whole different ballgame. They're probably more akin to the futures commodity markets than anything. In fact, currency futures are part of the description of the commodity markets. Taking money as a commodity, which it really isn't, because you can't eat it. Okay. But those instincts that you might bring to the table, if you're a race car driver or a fireman or a real estate investor or an engineer like I am too, bringing those instincts and gut feelings about how you are to approach your work have to be changed, not dramatically, but subtly. And those subtle changes are a dramatic difference in the way that you view what's going on the screen. It's difficult to describe that in a video, and so that's not the purpose of this. It's to bring your awareness to the fact that if you have not studied your psychological makeup, if you haven't read Mark Douglas's book, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and you're trying to trade, you need to stop. And you need to investigate who you are as a person. As my martial arts instructor, S.A. Brock, taught me anyway, back in the late 1960s, 1969 actually. As human beings, the only way we can change who we are into who we want to become is to alter the way that we think, because we're a product of the way that we think, and thoughts are things. You know, if you say you're a failure 10 times, you're going to be a failure. If you say this is difficult, it's going to be difficult. Words are things. They create within us these emotions that become instinctual. Somebody raises their hand like this at you, and your instinct is to do this. I've been in martial arts for 50 years, as you probably know if you've watched anything in my channel. And some of the early training that I used to do with students when they would come in is I would say, you know, if you're a man, you're gonna, if I take a set of keys and you're a man and I throw them at you, you're gonna pull your knees together if you're sitting down to catch the keys. But if you're a woman, you're gonna spread your knees apart so that their dress will catch them. And so that's not as prevalent today, because the women aren't 100% in dresses. They're in pantsuits. They're in jeans like normal wearing when you're out in the garden and stuff. So over time, I haven't run that test or that example in probably 30 years, so I'm not sure that would be valid today if you tried that. But if you look at other things that we're accustomed to doing automatically, what we would call instinctively, look back at that. What causes you to have that instinct? I mean, we have a lot of instincts that are predetermined in our DNA from our forefathers that guide us in times of danger and stress. And so I think we need to take something that we are familiar with, that is an instinctive reaction to some event, and analyze that, and then look at the trading that we're doing and say, how am I reacting when price moves against me? Well, why do I do that? And you're going to learn an awful lot. And I'm not going to say anything about it because I'd like you to do that exercise. Look at something in the trading that you're doing when it's going against you. What do you do? What's your instinct telling you to do? And that's that subtle change that you have to bring to your trading. Otherwise, your fundamental analysis and your technical analysis or the voodoo or whatever it is that you're doing in order to, that's in your trading plan that helps you to do the trading, it isn't going to work for you. And I can state with absolute certainty that that's the case. And if you think it's any different than that, then you're going to continue to lose money. And you're going to delude yourself into thinking that, well, if that occurs, I'll be okay, and you'll go ahead and you'll end up with a winning period, and then you'll fund your account with a whole lot of money, and it'll be gone. The statistics say that 90% of traders lose 90% of their money in 90 days. That's 80% of the people that are going to be unsuccessful, and 20% of the people that are. It's so difficult to make the transition from our instinctive reactions to our daily hopes, fears, and greeds, and translate that into the appropriate different response in our currency trading. Please be aware of that and do a little bit of study. And if you have any specific questions or whatever that I can help you with, but feel free to email me. But I'm not going to get in a whole bunch of conversations here. I'm retired. I've got it figured out. I just want to make you aware. Do your work and do some study. Instead of losing your money, listen to what I'm saying, because I've lost my money because of the failures of my understanding of these subtle changes that I need to make. And just recognizing them sometimes is insufficient to break a bad habit. If you've ever smoked, I haven't before, and you've tried to quit, how difficult is that to quit? And even after you've quit, how difficult it is to stay quit, because you have this tendency that I gotta have one cigarette after dinner, or whatever it is that you do. Our instincts are the worst. As Walt Kelly, cartoon character, 1941 cartoon character, Pogo said, "We've met the enemy and he's us." And that couldn't any closer to what we're experiencing in our currency trading, that you're not going to experience when you're learning how to drive or run a chainsaw or whatever it is that you're going to do. Your instincts will help you there. They're not going to help you in their current form doing currency trading. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.